This is an online course that's going to focus narrowly on tarot through the framework of occultism and how tarot is used in witchcraft. So, to do that, the first thing we're going to do is distinguish what I mean by occult or esoteric forms of tarot from psychology based tarot readings. We are then going to delve into the history of occult tarot and when tarot entered the world of Western occultism and what that looked like. We're also going to talk about various Western occult theories that play a large part in the tarot, especially in, for example, the Rider-Waite-Smith tarot deck and the Thoth. Then we're going to bring all of that into modernity and talk about what tarot and witchcraft looks like in the contemporary eras. Throughout this video series, I'm probably going to be using a lot of matter-of-fact language that makes it sound like I'm talking about some kind of objective truth. That's just me sort of going too far deep into my own head and starting with some presumptions. The beginning course videos will talk about what those presumptions and definitions are, but they're probably going to be very different from your definition of witchcraft, your definitions or ideas about what occult tarot is or is not. So I do want to make it very clear that everything I'm talking about is not objective truth or the only way to look at things. Instead, it's going to be within the universe of how I look at things. We'll begin with some baselines, and if you don't agree with those baselines, I do believe there's still a lot you can get out of this course, but just sort of make those personal adjustments as you hear what I'm talking about. So if I define something in a certain way that doesn't resonate with you, you will in that moment have to make adjustments and then move on and hear sort of through what I'm talking about to get to the educational value of what I'm presenting. So just keep in mind everything is speculative and it's a proposal for how to think, not how you should think. All right, now let's begin. This is Tarot, Occultism, and Modern Witchcraft. We all know there are different approaches to reading tarot. There's fortune telling, those who ritualize the divinatory process using tarot in mediumship, psychology-based tarot, and using tarot more analytically. And very few of us are what I call one-note readers, meaning we don't just interpret a reading through one single lens all of the time. An actual reading is going to be some combination of many different approaches. In an actual reading, multiple operations happen simultaneously and collaboratively. Now, I know I've come to be known for a more rational-based and academic approach to tarot, given the book I've written and my presentation of tarot analytics. But this course is going to focus on only one genre of tarot reading, and that's occult tarot or esoteric tarot. When I say esoteric tarot, that's in contrast to psychology-based approaches to tarot. I'm not saying that within the scope of witchcraft there's no psychology. Of course there is. But for this study, so that we can really gain an understanding for tarot and witchcraft, we are going to separate out the two and treat them as entirely separate. Again, in an actual reading and in real life, they're not separate. But for study purposes only, we are going to treat them as separate. When we get into tarot in witchcraft or tarot as a psychic phenomenon, we're talking about wielding the tarot as a tool for navigating veiled and unseen realms. In the next video, we're going to get deeper into the distinctions between psychology-based tarot and psychic tarot, but for now, let's say this. Exoteric approaches to tarot reading, which relies heavily on psychological processes, is enrichment for the masses. It's about promoting self-examination, self-awareness, even shadow work, I would say, is arguably exoteric and based in large part on psychology. Exoteric tarot deepens our understanding of the conflicts in our life, man versus environment, and man versus himself. Esoteric approaches to tarot reading is about incorporating facets of witchcraft. It's understanding the metaphysical correspondences to our physical world. It's acknowledging that to everything we see in the physical world, everything we can see, hear, smell, taste, and touch, there's an intangible, less perceptible spirit or non-physical counterpart. Esoteric tarot taps into that non-physical spirit counterpart.
I mentioned witchcraft, but what exactly do I mean by that? Your average person outside the occult communities doesn't even believe witchcraft exists. Witchcraft, as I'm going to define it, is first and foremost a science because it is a systematic knowledge based on observation and experimentation. I do assert that the dedicated occultist is someone who enforces a relentless application of the scientific method. Plus, just go back in history. Everything was witchcraft and magic before it was science. A creative, genius, scientific mind goes on a hunch or intuition, following something in the realm of witchcraft, applying the scientific method until it becomes science. Astrology to astronomy, numerology to mathematics, alchemy to chemistry, herbalism to medicine. Most modalities of witchcraft also call upon a roster or pantheon of deities, of what we believe to be divine spirits or demonic beings. And witchcraft does rely heavily on mythology, so we can't say that it isn't at least in some significant part rooted in religion. Finally, witchcraft is magic. Magic, I'm going to define as manipulation of that unseen metaphysical energy we talked about earlier. That is the non-physical counterpart to every physical object in our universe. Magic is being able to detect this unifying force that connects all of us and therefore can be manipulated by any single one of us to create changes in the greater whole. And esoteric tarot is all of that. By the way, I will include links to videos I've posted outside this course that get further into my concept of witchcraft and the witch, in case you're interested. Exoteric tarot, the most common way people use the cards is to understand what is and to deep dive below our own consciousness and superficial awareness levels to understand the why. As I espoused in my book, Holistic Tarot, the cards are really great for decision making. And even if that is your only use for the cards, it's invaluable to your life. The counterpart to exoteric tarot or esoteric tarot goes beyond what is and transcends observable space-time, meaning it's about using tarot to essentially do the impossible, to see the future, to see the way past, like ancestors or past lives, or to gain access to information beyond actual knowledge. It's unnatural. And you'll see I put an asterisk there because it's not actually unnatural. What I mean is it's a form of technology. It's artificial in that sense. You're stopping or manipulating the path of nature in some way. According to nature or karma, A leads to B leads to C. But at point B, you engage in witchcraft or use the tarot within the scope of witchcraft to change the energy flow so B leads to X, not C. And I don't mean by exercising your free will. No, no. It's about using tarot to defy physical and natural laws. By the way, it's not that incredible. You're not supposed to be able to fly from California to New York in 5 hours, but you can because of science and technology. Witchcraft is on par with that, but channeling a different current of energy bodies. So here we're going to go through a guided tarot reading, practicum number 1 in this course. This is a tarot reading that's going to help us parse through what I'm defining as the distinction between an exoteric reading and esoteric reading. At this point in the video, please get your tarot cards and shuffle them. Any deck will do just fine. Shuffle in any manner you like. This is going to be a guided practice reading, but I do still hope it offers insights to you. We're all going to ask the same question, reading for ourselves. How do I increase my financial gains this fiscal quarter? Focus on that question as you shuffle. How do I increase my financial gains this fiscal quarter? How do I increase my financial gains this fiscal quarter? Continue shuffling. Keep shuffling and just gaze at the screen while I talk. don't draw any cards yet. I'm just giving you a lay of the land so you know what's happening next, tarot spread-wise. Okay, now draw a single card and place it on the workspace in front of you. This answers the question you presented. We'll interpret it through an exoteric lens, but not now. Keep going. We're now beginning to cross the threshold or boundary line. Shuffle the cards and feel your eyelids getting a little heavier, and feel the weight of a thick, palpable energy right on your shoulders, up against your back. You're still shuffling the cards. Now, feeling heavier than before, ask, if I do nothing different from my ordinary behavior, what will be the outcome? Pull your second card and place it next to the first as you see laid out on the screen. Now, shuffle again, and this time, as you shuffle, take one last look at the scene around you, where you are, what's in front of you, the layout of the room. Then close your eyes, continuing to shuffle. Eyes closed, you visualize that same room, but now what was black is now white. What was red is now green, everything in reverse, in negative and glowing, illuminating with a phosphorescent force field. And not only can you see it in your mind's eye, you can feel the temperature of this thick, heavy breath of energy on your skin. It's like you can feel the whole of the world breathing on you. Now, focus on my voice as you shuffle, eyes closed. What I recite, think to yourself. Ask, what energy must be modified in order for me to increase my financial gains? What energy must be modified in order for me to increase my financial gains? Draw your card and place it into the spread. So take a break, and meanwhile, let me share with you the reading I did for myself. The first card I pulled was the Five of Pentacles. Here, a rather plain, objective reading of the classical meaning for the Five of Pentacles suggests it doesn't look good for me. The act of increasing is going to be hard. I'll face adversity if what I'm trying to do through the natural course of energies right now is increase. Now, that's not to say things are bad. In fact, there's a temperance going on right now in terms of my personal finances. So a steady, stable balance continues if I do nothing. The third card I pulled is now about detecting unseen energy. This is using the tarot as a barometer of sorts to detect for me the magnetic force field that's governing my financial situation. What energy must be modified in order for me to increase my financial gains and go beyond that temperance? High Priestess. The priestess is sitting between two pillars, as if she were the middle pillar in the Kabbalistic tree of life. So even though right now it's unnatural, meaning it goes against the untampered flow of energies in play at the moment, I can still manipulate those energies, change it so I can still increase my financial gains by harnessing the energies exemplified by the High Priestess. Considering preliminary esoteric principles, we begin to look into its correlation with the tree of life, the concept of duality you see in the dark and light pillars that's found in Hermetic philosophy. And really, this was the perfect card to have drawn for this sample reading, because in so many ways, in the High Priestess, we see witchcraft, or the pursuit of such occult knowledge. Now, this is actually the full operation, 4 cards, but don't do anything just yet. I'm going to guide you through that 4th card. For now, record your reading results, because we are going to return to this spread later, after we've covered some rudimentary Western occult principles. Then we'll look into applying the principles we've learned to reading the cards. Again, do not pull a 4th card. I'm just showing you your end goal. Right now, you should have only 3 open cards in front of you. Take a moment to ponder the reading results, take notes, and then we will reconvene in the next video.